Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach, with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 96 and we've got a big game against Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. We've also got our draw for the Champions League group stages and the Carabao Cup too, as it happens to be at the same time. And then we've got transfer deadline day. I can't imagine it being a big one because the big news has already happened. And who's worked out the clue from the title? I tried to make it fairly obvious, but I am a happy man. We've got a Bruno Fernandes replacement. It's someone we know very well. We'll go and meet them in a moment. But if you're looking forward to today's episode, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. If you missed the summer transfer special last time out, it did have some big blockbuster news in it. Please do click in the eye above to find it. There's also a link to the Hemel Save yesterday where we finished the season up there, as well as the Twitch channel for regular live streams and the football podcast for regular content too. Please do come and follow us over on both of those if you haven't already. And you can also support the show as a channel member down below if you wish by clicking the join button. Thank you so much for your incredible support. Let's get cracking with a very big episode because there's nowhere else to start. Transfers. We have got a reuniting moment with a brilliant former player of ours, and there's plenty that might be going out as well. Voloshin has rejected a 30 million transfer to Crystal Palace, our former club. Jaloka has been agreed to be sold for 100 million by John Murtow after he rejected an offer from Bayern. We've got last summer's young signing Bonjour potentially going out on loan. One of this summer's ones, David, potentially going out. And Johnny, who looks like he's going to be leaving for about 25 million. That after he requested a transfer to the director of football in the summer. But none of that matters, because if we go to the ins, a replacement for Bruno Fernandes is BOYER from Crystal Palace. How many transfer windows in a row was this rumoured? Were we linked with him? And it's finally come off. He's played a couple of Premier League games now, one for us, one for Palace. And he's a superstar. He's got even better since we left him at Palace. He's now 26 years of age. And the squad is freshened up. It's a reduction in wages for the club. It's £68 million up front. And we'll get some of that back for Johnny anyway. And he tried to with Voloshin too. Stephen Duffy did leave the club for 10 million. Loads of players out on loan, including Rhett Nieto and Leon Hopkins, who have featured for the first team before. But BOYER in is the only deal we're talking about. So it might be a quiet deadline day in terms of ins. I'm sure there'll be a few on the outs front. But that is the best news we've had since we joined here, because he really is the final piece of that jigsaw. And it gives us a world-class midfield now, which is what we've been missing. So I have tried to adapt some of the roles tactically, make it the best midfield possible for the three we've got. But that was a very exciting moment for me. My face lit up when I saw that the offer had gone in for BOYER. But let's go and get through the draws, because we've got a Carabao Cup one first. We would like to be dominant and try and win this competition for the third year in a row. Or the second year in a row, isn't it? We won it with Palace before. We're away to Newcastle. That is a tough draw. BOYER, he's won it for us with Palace. Can he win it here? We'll find out later on in the season. Let's give ahead to the Champions League draw though. Then Tottenham Hotspur away in the Premier League. And here we are, up to first seeds in the Champions League group stages. Let's get them out the way. Excuse the mouse clicking. We are in Group B. We will not be facing Real Madrid from the second pot, as Ajax come in alongside them. What I do want to know in this group is we can't get City and Chelsea. So behind my head are Porto and Roma. And they're probably the best two options, because on the other side we've got Inter, Juventus and Borussia Dortmund. Although we have Nick Dortmund's best keeper. Let's see who we get. Roma. Whereabouts have they been finishing? If we look at the general... Oh, so they were fourth in Serie A, and they've never been higher than that in the last, 7-8 seasons. I think we've got to be pleased with that draw. It's the best we could have got from a pot 2. Let's move on to pot 3. So in here, Hoffenheim have popped out already. We can't draw Liverpool. I'm looking at the groups. Club Brugge are behind my head, as are Monaco, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool. Sevilla, Rangers and Hertha Berlin on the right. It's got to be Rangers or Club Brugge, hasn't it? With respect to both of them. I'd imagine the Scottish League's got strong here as well, but they're both loaded. Let's see who we get. Atletico Madrid. Now, we did get past them, didn't we, in a round of 16 last year. They're not that strong, but it's still not the best draw in the world. Look at that group. Porto and Bruges with the champions Milan. That's what you get for winning the Champions League. A little golden envelope with a nicer draw. Let's get to the final pot. Are there any big boys in here? AEK are out. We would have liked them. Behind my head are PSV, Dinamo Kiev, Dinamo Zagreb and Galatasaray. On the right, Celtic, Dinamo Moscow and Salzburg. I mean, you'd expect to beat all of them, but we wouldn't mind a slightly easier draw. It's Dinamo Kiev. I don't think that is fitting that bill because they've got a decent side when I last checked. Few more youngsters into the team now as well, and a few players worth the likes of 30, 40, 50 million quid. But we should be beating them still. So that is our Champions League draw. Not the best, not the worst. Middle of the road. But I guess it gives us a better chance of winning the group and maybe a worse chance of falling out if we have a couple of bad results. Let's go and skip ahead to Tottenham Hotspur though. It's going to be important in our title defence. We'll take a look at the games we've played already then too. Well, the media have called our Champions League group easy. I don't know whether that's correct or not, but we did say it wasn't the hardest group in the world. Let's go and have a look at the schedule. The 2 games that we've played off camera since that Community Shield final defeat are a 4-1 victory at home to Leicester. Yakubu, Russell Thompson and Sancho with a brace there. Thompson obviously going to be the casualty of BOYER coming in too. And then a 1-0 win away at West Ham. It was such a crucial game. It was pretty much level pegging the whole way through. You can see Fournier had a great rating in goal. He made some brilliant saves. And that's the difference. Top class goalkeeper, world class striker. And we nicked it late on. But West Ham, I fancy them to be up there this year. I think they're going to be right up competing for the top 4. They are favourites to be 6th. They're in the Europa Conference. And to be fair, I know we beat them, but the other sides have all started pretty well. Arsenal and Chelsea 2 wins out of 2. City dropped a point. Who against? That's what I want to know. City drew at home to Southampton. Oh, consistency, man. Seriously. It's so annoying. Great to see at the top of the scoring charts for the Premier League, Max Thompson, who we managed at Bristol City earlier on in our career. There's some big stories developing in the Premier League this season. We're going to be back in a moment though to face Tottenham Hotspur. If we get another win, there's a chance we could start to run away with it again. Fitness test time as Christos Solis returns from injury. We'll probably chuck him on the bench today. Jaloka and Yakubu both fit despite fitness tests. Liverpool won away at Chelsea. So that means, unless Arsenal win, no one's going to have maximum points out of those top sides. I just wish someone could be consistent and give us a really tough season, but we even showed it in yesterday's Hemel video. The top of the Premier League table. It's no different in that save. There's one team that always ends up 15 points clear. We've got a few players to close down here. Spurs a good side, but had a few poor seasons. Lost stars like Kalantari. Kane obviously retired a year or 2 ago, and they've not quite recovered from it. Bordinelli is not quite fit on the bench, so Zolis will replace him. The rest of the 11 now looks like this. Yakubu back out to the right. That experiment has ended now that BOYER's joined. BOYER goes into midfield with Jaloka and Amponza. I've adjusted the roles to deep line playmaker and Mazzala. We'll see how it works out. If need be, Amponza can drop to playmaker, BOYER to Mazzala where he played at Palace, and we can put Jaloka as the attacking mid if we need to. But the rest of it, I'm going to stick with this for now. We've got Fournier in goal. Gaia and Pavati the fullbacks with Ignacio and Bassone as centre-half. And Ponza and Jaloka in the middle. Selly and BOYER at the number 10. And then a front three of Sancho, Yakubu and Mbappe. Sancho's either sublime or awful. And the rest of it is pretty consistent. So let's go and get into the game. Tottenham Hotspur are the opponents. And they'll be hoping for a better season than last time round. And this is the Tottenham lineup. As well as Alexander Isak up front, they've now signed Fabio Silva. They've got Alaise Mariba. They've got Alfie Devine still in there too. Armstrong at the back is someone we've come up against before. Alex Mere's on the bench. Mark Guehi's on the bench. But there's not a huge amount of that original feel to it. So let's go and ask the lads to prove why they're favourites. Into the first half we go. Can we get Selly and BOYER flying? Might take him a few games to settle. But this seems like a big chance to shine. Back in London. What can he do? As with a couple of minutes on the clock, we've got the ball at the back with Fournier, playing out to Bassone and Gaia, into Amponza. Here is Selly and BOYER. Nice little Cruyff turn, plays into midfield, over to Mbappe. It's a lovely move. Holds it up on the edge of the box, forced wide. Crosses from the byline, Sancho's in there, but Bala heads away at the back post. Really good volley in the end too, as Amponza finds Jaloka to Vivati. Into Sancho and BOYER. We look brilliant already. BOYER cuts in, finds Jadon Sancho. And there's a first assist right on cue. 3 minutes into his first game on camera for United. And Selly and BOYER as an assist. Jadon Sancho looks like he's going to have a sublime game rather than an awful one. And we look like we're going to get 3 more points. But to see where Tottenham are now, they're a mid-table side. West Ham, tons better, really competing as Amponza into Yakubu. This could be big. BOYER shot saved by Lafont. It's out to Gaia. On the edge of the box, blocked by Mariba. And a second sliding challenge behind for a goal kick. 8 minutes gone, it's all Manchester United. This could be a very big scoreline. As it's a corner kick to Spurs, might want to prove us wrong, but Sone heads away pretty easily. Falls for Mbappe on halfway. Got a runner to his left, got two to his right. Beats the sliding challenge, plays in BOYER. He's one-on-one. Selly and BOYER could have been a dream start. Straight at the keeper, but what a player he's become. The first 15 minutes, he looks a world beater. And whisper it quietly, he might even be better than Fernandes. As BOYER chips into the back post, and Mbappe's there. Back to Sonny Pavati. Off the line to Jaloka. We've suddenly gone from looking a decent side to looking an absolutely sensational one. And BOYER has really added that quality to the middle of the park, as of the little role changes. Though at the back we've still got frailties, as Morrow picks it up 30 yards out. It's a little too easy, but the shot straight at Fournier, another area we've improved. We just need a big replacement for Inacio, really, and I think we're then ready to compete in the Champions League. That's not going to happen this summer, though. As we're just over 10 minutes to the break, it's Lafont with a big kick forward for Spurs. Really poor defending, but Fournier covers well. Gets it away to Yakubu and Amponza. Here's Mbappe. Back to Yakubu. Plays inside to Jaloka. Lovely switch to Sancho, who scored that opening goal. Doesn't take on his man. Goes back to Bavati. Jaloka into Selly and BOYER, who's running the show. Up to Yakubu. It was a perfect ball. His header couldn't quite find Mbappe, though. As Bassone finds Gaia to Amponza. BOYER's there again. Loses out to Mariba. Lafont clears downfield to Gaia. Jaloka finds Yakubu. Lovely switch to Sancho. Left side of the penalty area. Cuts into Selly and BOYER. Edge of the box. Back to goal. Back to Sancho again. His shot's just wide of the post. It's a brilliant move from Manchester United. We need a second goal because we saw against City it can go wrong. But we look great at the moment, as that will do for a second goal. Talk about the way it could come. Mbappe with a free kick about 30 yards out, in line with the left side of the box. The goal's disallowed. Gaia was offside. He didn't get a touch on it though. Maybe he went for it, but it was one of those free kicks that was cross-come shot. And it just flew into the back post, but it's not relenting the attacks. Sancho into the front post, headed away to Jaloka. Shot just over the bar. There is no let-up in this barrage from Manchester United. I'm almost devastated it's only one because we've been brilliant. Let's get through the dressing room, tell the lads they're capable of more. But if they can produce even better in the second half, this could be an absolute riot. As here we are with 5 minutes gone in the second half. Bassone with a free kick in the Spurs half. Jaloka plays a 1-2 with BOYER but gives it away in his pass back. Ignacio gets up and loses out to Devine. Now we're out of position. Can we start the second half in the worst possible way? It happened against City as Sancho finds Jaloka to BOYER. Inacio to Bavati. Nice calm heads back there. It's out to Sancho on the left. Cuts inside to BOYER. Got two up with him. Through ball to Amponza who's making that run. Good block by the defender. Sancho back to Jaloka. Over to Mbappe. His shot's just wide of the post. Some really good counter-attacking stuff here. But at 1-0 I feel we're frail defensively. I just want that second goal. We will make changes in a moment. As Spurs come over halfway on the right, they've had more of a threat this half, but Jaloka does really well. Finds Sancho. Up to Mbappe. Got three to take on. Goes for the shot from distance. Maybe a sign that he doesn't quite trust his pace anymore. But still, he's scoring goals. We can't complain. As Lafont goes long towards Alexander Isak, Inacio's lost out to him. We could give away the simplest goal in the world, but we don't. Fournier, the new keeper, saves the day. That's absolutely awful defending though. It's going to be a corner kick for Raul Morrow. Into the back post, headed away by Inacio. Played wide again, out to the corner taker. Morrow cuts in himself to the byline. Back to the edge of the box. Dorrington up. It's given away to Bavati. Not the best ball. We're 25 to go. I'm going to make changes. Inacio just starting to age a bit more quickly at the back. Xavier Benjamin on for him. I'm going to take Amponza off on a yellow card for, I think maybe Hannibal, because Agumbi's looking a little bit nervous at the moment. Hannibal will stay on the same side actually. That works a bit better. And then Yakubu, not had a great game on the right. We don't say that very often. So Russell Thompson with his pace on the right wing will see out the last 25 minutes. Well, 10 to go. It's been a great performance, but I am cautious of the fact we concede late goals at times. So I've gone back to balanced. We've not given up a chance yet, but there's 4 minutes of added on time. And it looks like a very good game is going to finish, well, spectacularly dull because of the way we've set up. But Sancho gets the ball to Jalocca. It's not been a 1-0 game. We've got 2 minutes of stoppage time to go. We just need to be sensible. And Mbappe tries to play in Russell Thompson. Maybe heading for the corner flag or just holding it up would have been a better option. As here comes Spurs. One last chance. Fernandes on the left-hand side. Finds Luis Carlos. I wonder if that's Alvaro Fernandes maybe. Thompson wins it, but it only falls for Morrow. Spurs still keep possession, but they're not in a rush. Luis Carlos down the right. He's got into Isaac. That was a gilt-edged chance. Bassone completely lost him in the box, and he's put it wide of the post. The keeper was caught at the near stick. It was half an open goal, and I'm not quite sure how he's missed it, as Fournier takes his time. Short to Benjamin, and Gaia, and Hannibal. We've beaten the press, now can we score? Thompson up to Mbappe, who's knackered. Into Hannibal. Big switch of play to Sancho. Just hold it up, take your time. Cuts it across to the Thompson, and the back stick loses out. Fernandes heads clear. It is Alvaro Fernandes. Played a couple of games under us, was sold when Pavati joined. But it is a former player. Don't know how I didn't notice him at the start, as Bassone finds Jalocca. 20 seconds to go. Pavati into BOYER. Had a really good game. Tries to release Sancho. That's not the best decision. No one's really been spectacular today, but lots of good performances. As BOYER gets it in towards Jalocca, left side of the box. Forced wide. Cuts it back. The final whistle goes. It is a brilliant display and a very deserved victory. Probably 2-1's a fairer score, but 1-0, it's a perfect away result. Now let's get to transfer deadline day and see if there's any more miracles to come. I doubt it, given the signings we've made already. Well, it's transfer deadline day, a quiet day expected. We're linked with a West Ham player, and Milan are linked with one of our players in Bordenelli. They are the Champions League champions, so he might well end up going. We're going to take part in the day. Phil Jeffries there again, someone who pops up every year. If he replaces Inacio, I declare us Champions League contenders. We'll wait and see who goes out, but it's not even the main story. And I'm sorry to keep harping on about the AI squad management, but if we go back, Manchester City, who beat us in the Community Shield final, were brilliant, who were our closest challengers in the league last year, who have got Erling Haaland up front, have now drawn at home to Southampton, lost at home to Brighton, and are 5 points off the top already. Chelsea, who were second the year before, our closest rivals, have dropped 3 points already, have lost a silly game against Liverpool. Liverpool have beaten Chelsea, but then couldn't get the result in another game and are down on 6 points. It just does my head in, so it looks like Arsenal might be the only ones who can compete this year. But we're going to take part in deadline day, take our mind off this nonsense, because it looks like the Premier League is the easiest to win again. We'd like some of those sides to go big and find some consistency. Back in a moment with any news. I will give you the one bit that has happened already actually, because in terms of the outs, Santiago Bonjour has gone on loan. That's the only news so far. We'll be back with more in a minute. Well, Chelsea have made an offer for Johnny, which would strengthen the Premier League, but 26 million, he's got other offers to consider. Sevilla have come in for Erdogan with no wage request to be a backup left back, so fair play to Murtaugh for rejecting that. We've also got to decide the squad registration because we've got a fourth keeper not registered. Uzun is injured and not registered. I was kind of hoping Voloshin had be gone. He did request to be transfer listed and loan listed and whatever else. So without that, we're again past our registration limit and I don't really know what we do. Johnny obviously will free up one space if he goes. But then will the director of football try to sign one? It's a little bit of a minefield at the minute. Back in a moment when the deals get confirmed. Well, maybe the Premier League is going to get stronger because with 10 hours to go, Johnny has decided to go to Chelsea over the options abroad. And he's still a good player. He was a backup for us, but he'll be a strong player for them. He'll definitely strengthen that squad when they have to bring players in for other games. So I'm really pleased that actually we're strengthening the division. And it seems weird that we're having to talk about that in the Premier League. It's something we used to talk about in the Bangor City Build a Nation in Wales, strengthening other clubs. And at the moment, we're Manchester United. We're having to do that with Chelsea, City and the title rivals, or what should be the title rivals. I wouldn't expect there to be anything in. If there is, it'll be a reaction to that sale. What budget is left? 132 million. Okay, there might be something just yet. Let's see what John Murtaugh does. A few more potentially going out. Well, 45 minutes to go in our window. A lot of the other deals might not get done in time because they're loans out to countries where the window closes later. but Juve have come in late for Santiago Cassell, who I'd be a bit annoyed to see go with Uzan out for 3 months. And he's not going. 40% of the wages not being offered. Was 30 million after though, to be fair, so maybe a deal that he didn't want to do. Maybe he's got a future here, but he doesn't seem to ever get stuck in the first team. Gets loaned out, plays for a little while, and vice versa. And then so continues the pattern. But 45 minutes left, definitely no one coming in. And there it is, a very quiet deadline day, but the big deal we needed was done earlier. A reunion with Selly and BOYER, our former Palace star, £68 million the signing. Johnny out on deadline day for 26 million and to one of the Premier League rivals in Chelsea. We've still got the third highest wage bill, City and Chelsea not making theirs count. And Arsenal signed a big player on deadline day too. They've signed Anthony Elanga from Dortmund, which is another big deal, but that's not the big one I was talking about. If we go to the rest of deadline day, Arsenal signed this guy, Christopher Mullen, from Manchester City, who's a wonder kid. Aston Villa signed one as well. But if we look at Arsenal, there's a striker who can't finish, but he's got everything else to his game and a great personality. So maybe he can play off the wide area. But Arsenal may be having a resurgence this season. There are some big deals done. There's certainly some strong sides in the league, but it doesn't look like there's any that are going to be consistent. If we have a look at the schedule for when we're next going to be back, I think the first Champions League game's a bit too soon, the Atletico one. So I think what we're going to do is come back for that away game, the second one in the group stages. That is Roma in the middle of October, just after the international break. And we'll show Liverpool at home the game after as well. That is a big week in this save. Could then be a Carabao Cup tie and then Chelsea away and then Roma again. That month could be season defining. Champions League definitely the priority. Premier League looks like it might be easy again in truth. But if you did enjoy this episode, seeing us reunited with an absolute superstar of a former club, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you thought of the deadline day, of the squad and of the players that we've got at the club now. A really good away performance against Spurs and a pretty friendly Champions League group. We can't really complain. If you want to stay up to date and see how the season goes, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. There's daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. As the Hemel end of season review will be back tomorrow. We had the final 2 games of the season yesterday. You can find that in the eye above, as well as the Twitch channel and the football podcast for regular content. Review the 92 will be back soon as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But a massive thank you for watching, your continued support as always, and I'll see you again next time for Champions League action with Manchester United.